even after reviewing this one a couple of times, I still can't get over the fact that I left the gouache palette sheet so messy. That was random, but I had nothing else to say in order to start this video. But yeah, that's how I do, apparently. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video on the channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing the video, and telling me your thoughts on the video itself in the comments below, and all that good stuff. So with all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and jump right on in. And jump right on in is what I did exactly, because inking this piece is probably the better part of the actual piece, because I kind of mess up the painting process. Spoiler alert, a little later. But it was a good learning curve and learning experience. And even now, as I am recording this and am looking at the piece, it's not worse than I thought. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It's worse in a couple of aspects, but it's still better in a couple of other aspects. Why did I say it like that? I don't know, but it's fine for me, at least. It's good. But like the last three, I'm starting to prefer just inking these portraits. Do I want to call them portraits? I will call them portraits. I'm starting to prefer inking these instead of coloring these, but that's kind of something I'm trying to get out of with this whole little series I'm doing. So I shall keep powering through, and power through I did, because again, these are extremely fun to do, and they get me out of a comfort zone that I had been stuck in for a while. And with that being said, I only have about 6 more of these to do before I am done with before I am done with my watercolor sketchbook. I am honestly a little excited to finish that, because I bought another one about a month later, and I'm just very excited to start a new one, at least. I don't know how to actually say that. But yeah. I guess I should save that for a little later in the video, but I'm not too sure. I don't know why I gave her a red earring. I don't know. It's not. Well, you all could tell me if it actually pops out to you, but it's weird. You'll see it in a little bit though, but it's an odd piece that I added towards the end of the painting session, but I think it works. But now, even as I'm rendering these, I'm working to render out a little bit of this with the gray wash and some of the inks. I wanted to accentuate some of the features of the face, but not too sure how much that worked out. Along with coloring in the hair a little bit too, but that's neither here nor there. And as we get into the painting, so I actually used watercolor and a little bit of gouache here. In order to make the brown skin, I used a combination of my red and green watercolor like I've been doing. But when I tried to mix the red and green gouache, this is actually something I should have realized last week when I was mixing up the gouache paints. I actually didn't mix the gouache paints as much as I should have. I realized that the Viridian green and the red, I think it was crimson red gouache, that actually mixed together to make a very odd purple color, which I needed, but I didn't know I needed until I made that by accident. And once again, happy accidents are what determine most of my success. So that's kind of funny, but it's the story of my life, honestly. Is my life an accident? Possibly. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah, that's just some humor, but terrible humor, but yeah. The only thing that I actually didn't like too much about it is that I didn't mix the green in properly with the red. So now the green is still popping out. And there's that good old purple that I didn't mean to mix together, but it somehow worked. So luckily I didn't actually get rid of the purple, I kept it, but I wasn't able to use it right now. I actually had to go over the skin with a couple of different coats. And the thing about it is that I actually should just use the brown that I have, like the actual brown coloring. But the thing is, I'm so used to paint mixing that I can't just take that shortcut anymore. It's weird to say, but it's, to me, using like the exact colors that you need is a shortcut in my head, instead of just mixing the main colors that you would otherwise be stuck with if you didn't have those as an option. What I mean by that is you would only start off with the primary colors, red, blue, and green, and then you would have to mix those three colors to make all the other colors you would need. That's what I'm doing right now when it comes to most of these paintings, and I don't need to do that. I'm going to work to get out of that, but I'm not sure if I actually want to, because you make stuff like this that's fun, but also you kind of mess up skin texture. So there's a trade-off to it, and I am slowly learning that the trade-off is not really worth it in the end. I don't know why I just told myself that, but that's something that I think I needed to hear. Maybe or maybe not. Don't set limits on yourself, people. Please. Learn that from me. Don't set any limit on yourself when you can be limitless. But yeah. So here is, yeah. I wanted to keep, since I kept the purple. The purple, again, was very much by accident, but it was planned. I wanted to use purple. I just did not know that mixing green and red gouache together would give you purple. So because of that, that's how this actually came to be. I kind of like it. I like it a lot more than I thought I would, I should say, but I still like it nonetheless. And with that still going, I actually started to run out of that really quickly, and because it was an accident, I had no idea how to mix it. Once I ran out, and I think I added too much red though. But that red did come to be helpful in a little, in about 2 minutes or so. Never mind. Here it is. So with that red, I actually brightened up the back of the head a little bit. Did I need to do that? No, because that messes up the light source. But again, this is all a bit messed up. So I just kept going and kept over painting, which I should not have done. But I have learned a little bit from my mistakes. Just a little bit. Now I am working to so that line, well, the implied line that is created by this paint here, it'll be on the right side of the piece on her face. That was actually what I wanted to do, but because the contrast was not where I wanted it to be, I wasn't able to really do anything with it. So I ended up going and smoothing it out. Is that the right word to say? I think so. But yeah, obviously now I just added a slight wash background. I actually like the wash background, and after it dries, it's just a little better. Again, after looking at it dried, it's a bit of a gradient, a pink gradient too, which is, I want to attribute that with water, but that entire wash background was gouache, so it was it dried a little differently than apparently. I don't know if it actually did dry a bit differently, but I think it did. Oh yeah, we actually skipped. Well, I didn't see the part where I added the earring, but there's the earring. Yeah, there are a lot of wash burns on the face, basically where I would overdo the paint, and I do not like that. Well, this is why I actually limit myself to a certain palette whenever I start to paint, so I won't add too many colors. But when I limit myself to a certain amount of paint, that does not really help as much, or at least it doesn't help as much as it should. It's all over the place, honestly. But this is more or less where I began to finish up. I started to call it quits after, yeah, right here, honestly. But I really liked it as much as I could because it was a challenge. But here is the inking stage that I do prefer, though. I think I prefer it because I've been trying to render a little bit more, and looking at reading How to Draw by Scott Robertson has been a bit of a help with that. But yeah, so here is the finished piece, and it's tolerable. It's not one of the best, but it's something that I still enjoy. So with all that being said, I will catch you all later.